Hello, and welcome back to Password. We're just gonna keep reading on in Roswell's route. Do you all like Roswell? Is that a thing? Tell me in the comments, what's your order of who's your favorite boy to your least favorite boy? I'm curious. Time ticked on by as I filled my notebook with sketches of my friends, various doodles of us doing things and or random shapes, at least until the ink in my pen ran out. Roswell seemed to have been amassing books, flicking through them with a frown, as if looking for an answer to a question he realized was of vital importance. Every time I asked him how he was going with his books, he flashed me a smile and said that it was going well. Right before going back, as if not having been interrupted in the first place, I had retrieved another pen from nearby, but by some miracle being left around by continued drawing, but a lot more distracted by how Roswell was poring over the pages of his book. Dave? I was just staring into space and hadn't registered him addressing me at first, but did a double take when he called my name again. Huh? What? I was just wanting to see if you were hungry. That's all. Maybe a little. Want to go get a snack and then watch a movie now? Aren't you worried that I'm going to be thinking about things while we watch it? From how you've been drawing the past few hours, you're going to be thinking things regardless of what we do. And I'm tired of reading at the very least. Oh, right. Sorry. It's alright. I could use something sweet right now. Of course you could. Right about now anyway. We wandered down together, heading through the foyer directly into the kitchen, rather than go through the dining room.
It's not that bad, Orlando. It is! Those two, really. Just...
Orlando was going to say something else, but noticed us standing there, a finger on Sal's chest. Aggressive. Are we interrupting something?
Not particularly. Just talking about Dean.
We can leave if you want. We just came for some snacks.
It's fine. You can stay. We were, finished talking. We're not finished talking, Sal. Yes, we are.
Roswell had wandered over to the pantry and started rummaging for something to eat, while Orlando and Sal stared off against one another.
We're done. Because if you want to tear into Dean about things he's done, you would best do it with Dean and not me.
Orlando went to say something, but was cut off as Sal stepped forward, imposing his size.
With that in mind, you'd best be respectful. My friend is hurting, and you dredged up mistakes he made dredging up mistakes he's made is only going to make things worse. If you want to talk to him about it, have some tact.
Like Roswell said, we can leave if you want.
No, it's fine. I'm gonna go talk to Dean. I mean it, Orlando. And now is not the time to be tearing into Dean. But if you must talk to him, he's in the greenhouse.
Orlando scurried away, choosing to take the route through the dining room, as not to walk past me and getting out of there as fast as possible. What was that about?
Drama. You know how it is.
Right,
just a common thread between Dean and Orlando that, well, Orlando takes issue with, that's all.
It sounds like a mess waiting to happen. Are you sure it's wise not to keep them apart? Given how readily excuse me, Orlando was willing to bark at you.
I believe. Assuming that Orlando can keep his cool enough to be rational, that it's best he and Dean talk things out now. Talk things out now.
Why now?
Namely because it's about time, but also because, with what you decided earlier with Dean, it means there's no way for both of them to address certain grievances they have with their own position. Sorry, I'm possibly phrasing this badly.
And I'm reading it badly. Don't worry about it.
You mean how with Dave is out of the picture, they can talk freely and wait. They can talk feelings and expectations.
Wait, really? That's what he meant? I just assumed it was like about whatever it was Orlando was talking about to Sal when we arrived.
It's true. Dean was invested in Dave, as was Orlando. At least from what conversation I had with the pair of them. Although neither handle their emotions well. Don't tell them I said that, please.
I don't think that's very wise to put them in the same room. Now of all times, then.
Dean lashes out, but is mostly all bark. Orlando is the same. I imagine once they've finished yelling at each other defensively, they'll both back down, but and be able to talk freely.
And you're sure that's safe?
I know it's them. I've known them both long enough that yes, I believe so.
Well, I believe that's probably. I guess that probably be already going at it by now. So the opportunity is missed, even if we wanted to intervene.
Are you two just grabbing something to eat for dinner?
More for a snack, before we end up watching a movie. Would you like to join us?
Would that be alright? I feel like I should be on hand in case Dean and Orlando need someone to mediate. But they're adults. They can cope without me, for a movie's length of time.
Great. Sal and Roswell went back to raiding the pantry, and in hushed voices discussed snacks. I just stood back and watched as they amassed things in their arm, and gave me a confident nod once they were done. I was honestly surprised how well stocked the pantry was, given we'd been cut off from the world for a bit now. Maybe prior to our arrival, they just stocked up and we were still safe as far as food. It was a worry that maybe we'd run out, but maybe something to bring up later rather than sour the mood, given how excited Sal and Roswell looked for movies and snacks. You guys look excited for the movie. Way more than I am, anyway.
Admittedly, it's been a while since we've done something nice in a group. The last time was playing cards, wasn't it?
No, that can't be right, can it? I guess we've all been busy, but still.
Well, we're doing something now at least, right? I was already dragging beanbags into position when Sal came to help, grabbing an extra one, presumably for Roswell.
So, how have you been, Sal? Like in general?
Well, fine, I suppose.
Oh yeah, these two haven't really talked much, have they?
Beyond the things everyone's tackling together, I can't complain.
Really?
Admittedly, I'd like to go and use the pool again when it's safer. But otherwise, it's for sure a unique vacation.
Sorry.
It isn't your fault. All of this happened. Unless it is. I don't think you should be apologizing.
He clapped Roswell on the shoulder, and Roswell buckled under the motion to fall into a beanbag, still cradling his snacks.
What did you want to watch?
Oh, I'm happy to watch whatever. Dave can pick.
Anything in mind?
No, you can pick Sal. I'm just, you know.
Huh, Okay, I'll see.
He want... Man, like, I always have this issue where, like, I'm with, like, a group of people, and they'll ask me to put on a movie, because I'm the one with, like, you know, a computer, and I have access to shit, you know? Don't worry about it. And, like, I remember it was, like, an art club, right? I was asked to put on a movie, and I was like, hey, this movie's by, like, a, really well-known, like, director in Japan. A bunch of notable animators worked on this. The composer is someone who was now big in the industry, but wasn't when they composed for this movie. And I was like, yeah, people know who Rei Matsumoto is, right? Right? Yeah. She just put out a music video recently that literally everyone watched, like, at the time, you know. And, like, then I realized no one in the art club cares about that. That sort of shit, right? Because they were just like, whatever, movie's boring. Or, like, uninteresting. Or too weird. And I'm like, okay. So from then on, I just put on, like, weird, mindless children's films. And, you know, then they were happy. And I was kind of like, I forgot. Normal people don't like watching these kind of movies. It is what it is, though. He wandered over and picked something seemingly at random, before returning and opening a bag of chips. The moment the movie started, we seemed to pick up in spirit. Roswell seemed to act attentive, as was Sal, but my mind was still wandering. I kept finding myself thinking across to Roswell, remembering what he'd told me the day before, and what was eventually going to happen to him. He was going to die soon. He was going to die, and he was happily sitting there watching a movie without a care in the world. I wasn't sure if I was envious of his strength or concerned about how unfazed he was about it. On top of that, the question Roswell proposed to me yesterday. What was I going to say? How did I feel? I could feel my eyes bulging as more and more I found myself staring at my friend.
Dave, are you alright?
Oh, I'm fine, really.
You're not watching the movie. Should we change it to something else?
Or did you want this bar of chocolate I have?
Sorry, I was just thinking about something. I'm good now, though.
We can pause it for you and wait if you want to talk it out.
No, I'm good. Promise.
Alright. Roswell, may I have the chocolate, please?
Oh, sure.
The movie continued, and I feel myself making sneaky glances. The other two seemed aware, though, occasionally meeting my gaze. But it wasn't long before we were facing the credits, and Sal nodded slowly.
That was fun. Thank you.
No problem. It was nice to take a break, to break up a bunch of reading and drawing.
No, I'm just thankful that we did something, just the three of us. Admittedly, it was starting to get a little lonely with just everyone in pairs. With Tyson, someone's always left out.
Oh, I just assumed I was the one left out.
Really?
Well, you do wander off a lot, Dave. Plus, any number of times you've just decided to take a nap, leaving the rest of us able to pair up.
Hopefully, we can find time for everyone to get together. To do something outside of a meal, anyway.
Sal got up and passed an open bag of chips he held to me, stretching.
Again, thank you. But now I should go make sure Dean and Orlando are doing okay.
You're welcome to come back and join us later if you want, Sal.
We'll see. I appreciate the offer all the same, though.
The faintest smile crosses his face before he wandered off out of the room, leaving Roswell and myself alone. We sat there quietly for a bit before Roswell broke the silence, resting back into his beanbag as he looked at me.
You're worried.
Sort of.
Maybe worried is the wrong word. You're more conflicted about what I told you yesterday.
Yeah. Well, yeah. What what am what am I meant to do with that information? I'm sad, but also wondering what there is I can do, and it just sucks.
And trust me, I know. But would you be less happy if you only found out as it happened? At least this way, we can make the most of what time there is.
I guess. I'm also considering, like, the other thing too.
Hopefully you haven't been worrying too much about that. I didn't mean for you to give me an answer anytime soon, just sooner, rather than later would be nice.
I nodded, along slowly and mimicking how he was sitting, breathing out through my nose.
Come on, what's really bothering you about it?
I don't know, just maybe I need time. Maybe I just wish I could magically fix it.
Deep breaths, Dave. Just relax. One thing at a time.
What would you like to happen in an ideal situation?
Good question, but I suppose an ideal situation would be that I get to experience a few things I've yet to within the constraints of being on a mountain.
Not immediately like being cured?
That's complicated. After a while, you have to accept that at 11th hour miracle isn't going to happen, so you can properly appreciate what you have left.
But isn't that like giving up hope? Things could still work out.
Dave, please stop. I've accepted my fate a long time ago, and while unfortunately, I'm okay with it.
Don't you get it, Roswell? You're dying. You're going to die.
Once again, I'll remind you, Dave, everyone dies eventually.
All I could do was stare, eyes wide as what he was telling me. It wasn't anything new, but it was hitting me just as hard as the first time.
So, to be more specific in my answer, I think what I'd really like to know what a relationship is like, good or bad. Just to have yet another experience under my belt.
Good or bad?
Right. Well, obviously having a loving partner is nice, and doing so out of obligation won't cut it. Heartbreak is a part of life, after all.
What about sex?
Sex is fine, I suppose. I've never had it, and at this point, I could take it or leave it. If it happens, it happens.
So, when you asked me yesterday if I'd be your boyfriend, that's why?
Like I said way back, way back when we were outside, I do love you, but I'm just not sure exactly in what way. Romantic? Platonic? I'm not quite sure.
You've put me in a difficult position, Roswell.
I know. And for what it's worth, I'm sorry.
Roswell got up, dusting himself off and looking at me carefully.
Can I ask you a favor?
What's the favor?
I want you to go think about the things for a bit. Solo. I'm resolved at telling everyone about my time left tomorrow, so everyone's on the same page, so I'm sorry you have to wear that burden alone for an extra day.
I got up, jittering and not really sure what to think, but that was maybe the point of what Roswell was asking of me.
But I think you need some serious time to process what's got you worried about all this. Remember, I'm the one dying, and I'm okay. All things considered, I'm okay.
But, slumping, I nodded my head and buried my hands in my pocket.
Please.
Okay. In a daze, I wandered off, not knowing where my feet are taking me, as I just thought things through. I was on auto, walking about the mansion until I took stock of where I was, looking around in the dark and letting my eyes adjust. How did you just casually wander in here, Dave? What the fuck? The library. Looking over the vault door, I felt a chill run down my spine. But all the same, I found myself wandering closer. But as my hand brushes the surface of the door, it It groaned. What? Startled, I quickly stepped back with my breath catching up in my throat. Stepping through the door was Oswin, each step forward making me take one back.
Do I want to know why you're here, boy?
Oswin!
Yes.
What are you doing here? He wandered over to the table where we'd had our first in-person conversation and leaned against the table, looking me over in the darkness.
I believe I asked you first.
Right, thinking, mostly. I don't even know why I ended up here, if I'm being honest. He grunted, gesturing to the seat that I'd taken during our first conversation, taking his in turn. Can I ask you something? I sat down, and he quirked a brow, not giving me any indication that I couldn't ask. What do you do when someone tells you they're dying? It must have happened to you at some point, right? He stiffened and drummed his finger on the table between us.
It's never easy.
But what do you do?
Could I take a wild guess and assume we're talking about Roswell?
Yeah. How'd you know?
More so, I'm pleased I didn't go revealing his secret prematurely. But I've known for a while.
Did he tell you?
Dave, I do believe you've forgotten what I used to do for a career.
So you knew because of that?
Given what I was working on, I was approached by his mother to question if there was anything that could be done. Anything at all.
But there wasn't.
Sadly, no. With my medical license revoked, I could hardly go walking into a hospital and administer tests myself either. But what Roswell has is, unfortunately, untreatable now. He is going to die.
It was hard to hear from someone other than him, and I could feel my eyes bulge and face go numb of feeling. What do I do now? My friend is going to die. What do I?
I imagine he's told you, and this is his delivery.
Yeah.
And this is his delivery left, little to be desired.
He was so calm. Who says things like that? I don't understand.
He turned 18 this year, I believe. So it makes it, 13, 14 years that he's known.
That young? But that would mean...
He was a child when he was told, yes. It's a wonder that he's lived this long, but regrettably, he's very much out of time.
But that's horrible!
Would you rather he have been lied to? Lied to? At what point is it more cruel to hide his lack of future from him as opposed to placing this burden on a child?
So his parents,
Every effort was made to ensure he was comfortable. That the flow of information was dictated by whatever his curious mind wished to know, even being so young.
I can't believe it. That's just so unfair. There was that word again. And I caught the faintest smirk on Oswin's face.
That is, unfortunately, life. But I imagine that isn't all that comforting to you.
Of course it isn't. He could have said something sooner. We could have done so many other things and made better use of the time.
But wouldn't that fly in the face of his wishes?
What do you mean?
To live a normal life. That's what he wanted, wasn't it?
I just don't understand. How can someone be so willing to die?
Because everyone dies eventually, Dave. Roswell has just had over a decade to come to peace with the fact that his life is significantly shorter.
I slouched in my chair and pouted. Even now, I didn't understand how to process what I was feeling. Between feeling overwhelmed and helpless, I slowly brought my gaze up to Oswin.
Let me ask you this. Are you his friend?
Of course.
Do you care for him?
Obviously.
Then I fail to see why this is an issue for you. You are not the one dying. He is. Given the circumstances, I understand why you expect Roswell to be distraught. But I'm sorry to say that all of that is long past.
So what am I meant to do?
Entirely up to you. But I would imagine the correct answer would be to be his friend.
But I'm doing that already.
Are you really?
I sat up, and then continued my upward motion, so I was standing. How dare you? Of course! Nothing is going to change how I feel about Roswell.
Nothing, huh? Well, that's good news. So I suppose then our conversation is over, after all. The only thing left to do, is to be there for him, isn't it? Let me be frank. If you're looking for what you're meant to be feeling, or what you're meant to be doing all about all this, the only thing that can be answered is in your, the only one that can answer it is yourself.
He rose from his chair as well, hands in his pockets.
It's a sad event. So be sad. Cry if you wish.
No, excuse me.
But the more you bring up that you don't understand, the more taxing it's going to be in his final moments.
He wandered over and put a hand on my shoulder.
Do you understand? Or do I need to go over it again?
No, I get it.
Good. If you're still struggling with this, go speak to Roswell again. Speak your mind, but be tactful. Rich, coming from me, but I'm hardly a paragon of virtue, am I?
Thanks, I guess.
Now, if you don't mind, I have some reading I need to do. Things to look up, and I'd much rather do that without the audience. You can take the door there down the basement.
He punched something in the wall and opened it up, gesturing through it.
Good luck.
I followed the passage beyond the door, letting my hand on the wall guide me forward until I emerged into the basement. Then from there, I stepped up into the foyer. You look a bit rattled, Dave. What's going on? Have you seen Roswell?
Sure, why?
Just wanted to talk to him about something. Last I saw, he was outside, just lying on the grass. Looked a little out of it. Did he say anything? I asked, but he didn't give me anything to work with. Just said he was waiting. Huh. Okay.
Now, have you seen Orlando anywhere?
Not for a while. Last I heard, he was talking with Dean about something before Sal left to go sort it out.
Great. All right. I guess I'll go see what's going on, too. Everyone else is accounted for.
Even Tyson?
Yeah. He's around, being a sourpuss. So I'm, giving him some space.
Well, okay. Good luck finding Orlando.
And you with Roswell. Although, he's just out front. Won't be hard to find.
With a wave, he wandered towards the backyard and out of sight, whereas I went out the front in search of Roswell. Roswell, you out here? There he was, splayed out on the grass, looking as happy as could be.
Welcome back, Dave.
What are you doing?
Waiting.
For what?
Not what. Who? I assumed you'd be back sooner or later. You never were the one to want to leave something alone for too long, after all.
This was important. I had to think quickly.
Sure you did. Come join me on the grass.
I did as he said, wandering over and lay down next to him, looking up at the sky. Evening was starting to roll in, and the soft blue of the sky were transitioning through warm pinks and oranges as the sun set.
So, how was things?
Tiring?
I can only imagine.
Roswell, can I be honest about something?
Sure. What's on your mind?
I have no idea how to feel or react to knowing that you'll be gone soon.
Well, yes, I gathered that.
The more that. It's more than that, though. I'm scared, ashamed, nervous, angry. Roswell sat up slowly, looking down at me, visibly confused.
I think, you might be the. Wait, I think, you might have the cycle of grief covered, if maybe a little out of order. And normally you, phase through them rather than just have all of them at once, you know.
I'm sorry. Not just about that, but I'm sorry that you're going through this. I don't know what it's like to, but it seems horrible.
It's not the best, no.
I've been a bad friend, haven't I?
Not as bad as you think, Dave. You care. You just care. And don't know how best to handle this particular bit of news is all.
And there's nothing I can do?
Nope.
Nothing you can do either?
Outside of just waiting. Nope.
Okay. Roswell laid back down, looking up at the sky when I glanced across to him.
I know it's not the best situation, but I promise, I'm okay.
Okay.
You're starting to sound unconvincing, Dave.
Sorry, I'm just sad.
It's a sad event, so it's okay to be sad.
Also, the other thing you asked me yesterday,
Right. Have you, come to a decision?
can I ask you something first?
Of course.
I know you said you wanted to experience it, even if it's fleeting, but what's going to happen to me if I say yes?
You live. You be happy when I'm gone, hopefully. Just because I'll be, gone doesn't mean life stops. I thought you'd have learned that by now.
He sat up, crossing his legs and scratching out as I did the same, and stretching out as I did the same. Okay, yeah, okay. Even as I struggled to make sense of it, Roswell was still smiling. For some reason, he really was fine with all this. My eyes dipped down, my brow furrowed, and I asked myself deep down how I felt about this. I have to choose? I feel so bad at this point. I feel bad if I just say friendship. What am I? What? I thought the affinity points was just gonna make the decision for me. That I wouldn't have to decide how to answer this question. That Dave would decide for me based on my previous decisions. Fuck. Fuck. Yes. My answer is yes.
Ah,
It's only going to be a brief while, but for what it's worth, I'd be happy to take that moment, take what moments I can get.
I'm glad you think so.
Roswell, I'm scared though. When it happens,
Dave, it's alright. When it happens, we'll tackle it together.
Man, you ever watched the anime Plastic Memories? Like, it's kind of like seasonal bullshit. Like, it's one of those, like, seasonal bullshit animes that's, like, you know, it's 12 episode meaningless nothing, you know? But, like, damn.
Cry. Be sad. Don't forget to keep loving others the same way that you would have loved me.
Who says I don't love you already?
That would be nice. But are you sure?
I don't know, but with what time we have left, I'd like to find out.
You're silly, Dave.
He took my hand in his, only briefly letting one of them leave to wipe his eyes.
I love you, Dave.
He had a goofy smile on my I had a goofy smile on my face, and my cheeks started to burn. It was a nice feeling that was coming from my chest, but I didn't know where to really place it. What happens now?
Nothing needs to happen if you don't want it to.
Are you hungry?
I think I filled up on snacks during the movie, so I'm probably fine for a bit.
All right.
Why? Were you asking me to dinner? Asking me to dinner on a date?
Well, we could probably go watch another movie with something sweet. I'm sure we could find something.
My boyfriend knows me so well.
Is that what I am now? Your boyfriend?
Sorry, was that not what you were agreeing to? I just assumed.
No, I mean, yes. I mean, it's just going to be a little bit to adjust to, is all. This is all new.
I don't have to, we don't have to call it that. If we, don't want to. Honestly, and just basking in this feeling is, really nice.
So, what did you want to do now?
Are you asking me because you had something in mind?
Not at all. Just wondering.
I didn't think this far ahead. If we hadn't just watched a movie, I would have said we should do that.
We can't just watch another movie?
We can, that is, if you want. Might be nice to cuddle up and find something easy to watch to let the evening go by.
We both got to our feet, with Roswell lingering a little behind. I waited for him by the door, and he wandered up ahead of me as I looked out over the lawn. Oh, Ty.
Hey.
What are you doing here?
Nothing. What were you doing outside?
Do you run into Tyson every time? Where he just has to, like, be okay that you've entered a relationship with with someone else and not him? That feels bad.
Nothing. What were you doing outside?
Just, Roswell. He was outside.
Yeah, and?
I think we're dating now.
You sure about that?
Yes?
You don't sound sure.
We are. We're dating.
Congrats, I guess.
What about you? How are you doing?
Fine. Why?
I was just thinking, maybe you should take my bed again tonight. It helps with your headache, right?
And where are you going to sleep?
Dunno, but up to you. How's your headache anyway?
Still, fine. Still, they're still there, but it's better.
So you'll take my bed again, to stay on top of it.
Sure. Thanks. May as well head up now then. Not like anything's happening down here anyway.
Oh, well, sleep well, Ty. The words he were barely out of my mouth, and when he came close and gave me a hug, he didn't explain or say anything more. Instead, just breaking away and heading upstairs himself. Oh. We watched a movie, and with the pair of us yawning, we made our way over from the rec room to Roswell's bedroom.
Today was a good day.
It ended up that way, for sure, yeah.
Right. Do you think tomorrow will be easy? Letting everyone know that, well...
Did you want me to do... Did you want me to do most of the talking?
There really isn't anything to say, is there? At least regarding us. It just comes down to us dating, and that's that.
True, but I don't know.
Anything else needs to come from my mouth, remember? While I appreciate the support, it's my news to give.
Right. Roswell came close and hugged me around the middle, cuddling me.
But I could go for some cuddles in bed, I think. Probably won't take me long to fall asleep at this stage.
Oh, should we turn in then?
I was planning to have a shower first, but I'd say so.
No worries. I'll grab one after you. And just get comfortable while I wait.
Won't be long.
He flicked off the lights and disappeared into the bathroom. Then soon after, I heard the shower running. No longer after, I'd heard the shower turn off, and we tagged out. When I was done, Roswell was already curled up in bed, half of the bed available for me to take. He had a sweet smile on his face, and the moment I lay down, he reached out for me and rested a hand on my chest. Idly, he played with my fur, and I warmed up under the covers, but eventually came in close enough to roll me over so he could cuddle into me from behind. It was nice, if unexpected, but sure enough, I fell asleep, cradled in the arms of my boar. Okay. Well, I guess that's it for this part, isn't it? I'll see you around, everyone.